Hi, this is Nancy Damiano with another episode of Memory Keeping Mondays at 2peasinabucket.com. Today I'm going to do a fall theme page. I printed out these pictures of my son from a few years ago, and he was playing in the leaves, and I combined a large 5x7. This one's a 3x3 close-up of his face, because I wanted to remember how cute he was at 4. And then an action shot of my husband and my son playing in the leaves as well, and this is 2x3. So we're going to combine different sizes to tell the story. And then I pulled out some fall themed papers from a few different lines. This one is Harvest Lane by Simple Stories. In particular, I love this one. I'm going to use this for most of my title work, and I like the bright colors. And then also from the same line, these coordinating red, green, and a golden yellow. They have a very subtle print. I'm going to be using these to cut out some leaf die cuts with my silhouette. And so I thought these would do well with the shapes that I'm going to cut. And then I added a few others. This is from Jelly Bean Soup Country Pumpkin Chowder. And you can see how they coordinate really nicely. The greens are practically the same. This blue is from Bella Boulevard's Thankful. And I like this because in my pictures, my son has a big blue monster on his shirt, and I thought a little punch of this bright blue would look nice. And then as my background, I chose this wood plank paper. This is from Simple Stories, but it's from the Take a Hike. And it's the darkest wood that I could find. And I think that it will really make all of these brighter colors really pop out. And then this plain sheet of craft cardstock. I like this. It's very light, and it's the perfect, I think it's the perfect shade of craft. And this is brand new. This is by Echo Park. And then to decorate, I'm also going to combine all three lines. Simple Stories, Harvest Lane. And I'll use a few of these motifs. This is the Jelly Bean Soup Country Pumpkin Chowder. I love these nested circles. And then even this one from Take a Hike, Simple Stories as well. I love this font. And even though this is camping, I think I can use some of these for the fall theme. I'm not sure if this is going to work, but I did pull out some wood embellishments, font by Pink Paisley, and these tiny little stars from Studio Calico. Again, just goes with the rustic sort of feel that I want to use on this page for fall. And then some flags from Jelly Bean Soup and some enamel dots. In particularly, I like these brown ones, and we'll see if we can add that. Okay. That's what I've pulled, and let's get started. Okay, I started out that page by placing my 5x7 photo in the upper right hand corner. I measured really carefully 1 inch. I want 1 inch margins all the way around so that you could see the wood paper. And this one I measured really carefully. As long as this picture is straight on both sides, the rest of the page I won't need to measure anything. So as long as this one is straight, everything else will fall into place. Okay, in the upper right hand corner, I'm going to place this picture, but I'm not sure if I'm going to keep the white border or not, so I'm not going to glue it down quite yet. And then I went ahead and cut out my the title block from the sheet of paper, and I think that's going to go right about here. Okay, now I'm just going to lay that out to see how it looks before gluing anything down. And then I went ahead and cut out all of these leaves from the silhouette. I'll put the exact name of the shape in the supply list from all the different patterns that I chose. I probably cut out a lot more than I needed. I think I cut out 5 of each pattern just so I could have enough to play with, and then I'll use it for another project. And I'll show you the negative as well. I really like this look. I'm going to keep this for another page and back it with something else. head when I did the journaling and just stitched with my sewing machine a simple line of white thread, and I had cut it off the bottom of the journaling because I didn't like the way it looked, and it threw my page off center. I didn't have an inch margin down here anymore, so I cut it off and I was going to throw it in the garbage, but I think I'm actually going to use it right here. I think I like how it adds texture and I still get the stitching look, and it sort of separates the die cuts from the journaling. So I guess it was a happy mistake. Almost creates like a little shelf here. This I'm still not decided on, so I still haven't put that down. I think that I do like the white border. It makes that picture stand out. Okay, now I'm going to start layering the leaves. This is the fun part. I'm going to cut some of these so that I can tuck them in under. Going to add some staples to the centers, just for texture. Don't necessarily want them to be so flat, so I'm going to bend them up a little bit. I know when they go in the page protector they'll flatten out again, but some of the creases will stay. I don't want them to look really new, or I want to distress them a little bit. I could have done that before I put that adhesive. That probably would have made it easier, but and then this is a second leaf pattern that I cut. It's you may not be able to see it on camera, but it's cut out of a very light tan ledger paper. And I just like the warmth and texture and a little bit of print that can be seen on the edges that ledger paper adds to die cuts. And I like this shape because it's in a big contrast to the solid shape, and it's just pretty enough to add on top. We'll just add a few. I can't remember where I had them originally, but I think that works. Okay, we're almost finished here. I'll just add a few little final touches. I need to add the date, which I think I'm going to use some of these leaves to add the date. I could do that with a stamp, a date stamp, but I'm going to use this little tiny font in orange to match the leaf. And yes, I put all the stickers on my hand just to save time from going back and forth. Okay, then using orange on orange, it stands out just enough. And adds a little more texture to the leaves as well. Okay. That was the camping sticker. I think I've decided that I am going to leave this white thin border around this photo. So I'm going to go ahead and finally glue that down. And I even like how it overlaps the larger photo. That's okay, I don't have my perfect square, but it adds interest. It's still pretty linear. I'll add something across this title to add a second layer to it. Basket full of happiness. I love how they add these typed sentiments to their stickers. And I like these bits of washi too. We'll use the blue one. And I like to add staples to the center of these as well. Just to repeat the staples that we have down at the bottom. Okay. One final look, and there's an empty spot here in this picture that I'm not too happy with. So I'll place another sticker there. These will work. A little enamel dot to make it stand out. And that completes the page. We added just by adding the small enamel dots, the sticker, the staple, and this other sticker, we just added the last layer of dimension and the final touches. And that's it. Thanks for joining me on this episode of Memory Keeping Mondays. I'll see you next time.